Let's learn something really quick.
If you got the time, absolutely. And you got the discipline, there's no question about it.
I love that. Yeah, that's a great practice to put into your everyday life, you guys.
You generally regret the things you don't do, not the things you did do. Let me say it that way.
Mic drop. This was just awesome. I love meeting my guests in person, and it's a whole nother animal, and the energy is just electric. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. Live your best life. You must live label free. What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, bring incredible guests from all over the world, so sit back, relax, and tune in. My next guest is an emerging female voice in personal development and transformation. She is a future TEDx speaker, author of Stop Calling It Comfort Zone, Be Uncomfortable to Be Comfortable. She's a former scientist with proficiency in physiology and profound experience with multiple top-ranked fellowships, as well as the First Prize Award for High Achievements in Science. And she's been nominated as a person of extraordinary ability. Please welcome Dr. Aksa Yax. Wow.
Wow. I even have the PhD. Can you imagine?
That's a lot.
It didn't help me at all. Zero.
So I love your background in science, physiology, microbiology. So I know when we had our intro call, you kind of told me a little bit about what got you into that. So why don't you share with the audience a little bit about like your journey of becoming this incredible woman that you are today?
Oh, thank you. It's really kind of everything started since I was a child. I was in love with nature, and becoming a biologist, it was kind of destined for me. So I landed in science. I was very successful. And after 15 years and doing 12 inventions, I decided that I'm ready for the life. And mostly I lived in Europe, and very quick I learned that having the dark hair and brown eyes, it's kind of, you are a bit different there. But once I would say that I have a PhD and I'm working at the university, everything would change. I learned that bait very fast. So
wow.
Whenever I would introduce myself, the next I would say, I have a PhD and I'm a researcher at the university, and people would take me perfectly.
Wow.
And then I decided I have 12 inventions and I'm ready for starting my own company. I started and I failed miserably, because in 1 second I realized that all the achievements that I had, they were just only the labels. I was covering myself, just kind of covering my insecurities before the real life. And step by step, removing label after the label, when I started to realize they don't serve me, because I didn't have that protective shield that I was at the university. I was one-on-one with the life, and there was no protection. I didn't have that safety net, and I realized, wow, all that nice attitude from people, it was only for my labels. And now, because I don't have any label, I was stuck because I kept trying to be back to that safety net. Like I have all these labels, I accomplished this, and it just kept me failing over and over again and again. And once I started to remove every single label, I saw my true self. I saw who I am. And that's when everything flipped and changed.
Wow.
Because I started to live label-free, status-free, only myself. If I make it, then I am good enough. If I don't make it, the label is not going to save me.
No, definitely not. And I love that you shared that you failed miserably, because I think people have a misconception that with someone like yourself that have all these accolades, all these different accomplishments under her belt, does that mean that you haven't experienced failure? Because like myself, the difference between you, me, and someone else that has failed, a lot of people will let that failure hold them down. When I've experienced failure, I just look at it as an opportunity to grow and to learn from what did not do right. So what was it like moving through what you say, failing miserably, to where you are now?
Can you imagine, I had over 20 very high ranked scholarships, and every time when I would ask for being hosted at the different universities, I would get the yes right away.
Yeah.
And now I landed in life and I would hear no so many times. I could never count. I was like, do we even have that the high number?
Yeah.
I saw the numbers and somewhere, but the no's that I learned to hear and accept in the very beginning is very hard. But life continues and you choose to stay there, to give up, or to continue. And at the moment, when I was going through the hardship, like, because I went through real hardship, I lost my dad, then another life-changing circumstance happened in my family. I wish never happened. I will never forget that day. Then my personal trauma. Then I moved to live to the new country. I crossed the ocean all by myself, alone. And everything was happening so fast, like 6 months apart. I didn't have the time to recover. And I was out of the science, no safety net. I didn't even fail only tremendously. I was so out of controlling my life. I didn't know what to do. I was so lost. And I had kind of the job which people would dream to have. But I knew that there is something bigger inside of me. And I knew that I can help people. And while I was going through the hardship, the only way that I would go through day by day, because I was in really dark time, like really dark place. So many people give up. The only way that I would continue is reading the stories of other people, how they failed, but they kept going. And I realized, you never know, maybe someday my story will save somebody's life. And that was the reason that I decided I'm going to publish the book, especially together with discovering the new technique, which helped me to stop the procrastination, because I would just simply stay in my so-called comfort zone because it was protected. I felt better. I was all alone in the foreign country, and English is my third language even. My brain, in the very beginning, it was like, what the hell do you want from me?
Yeah, I bet.
Yes, and it's so easy to fail and stay where you failed and start to blame. The life is unfair, and every single morning I wake up and I start my day. Life is unfair and you cannot fix that, but you have the option to change something in your life and maybe somebody's life and help them. I never go to bed if I haven't done one good thing a day, or I didn't help one person a day. That's my mantra since 30 years. One good thing a day. And I don't ask anything for that.
I love that. But you shared something that I think a lot of people that might be listening, and maybe that they've experienced this, but when we go through dark times in our lives, we have an opportunity to really kind of learn and grow from it, right? So I've been through many, I've had a lot of traumatic things happen, and I'm not like, woe is me. I am who I am today because of those experiences, right? And what sets you apart from someone else is that you didn't allow it to hold you back. You like thrived from it. And so let's talk about your book. And I love this because when we had our intro call, I told you something that my sensei said to me like 20 years ago. Stop calling it comfort zone. Be uncomfortable to be comfortable, right? And I love that because my sensei said people fall in love with comfortable, and that's not always good for you.
No, that's not. Whatever you call, it's how you send the command to your brain. If you are unhappy, if you are unhealthy, if you are, let's say, not fit and everything is falling apart, and you keep calling it comfort zone, what's the command you give to your brain? I'm fine, I'm comfortable to be miserable.
Yeah.
That's the command that you send to your brain. And your brain will sabotage because your brain associates, okay, I'm already unhappy and that's the comfort zone. So if I go to be uncomfortable, it's going to be worse.
Right.
While it's the other way around. If you stay in your comfort zone, you will never succeed. If you want to change, you have to eliminate every fake activity that just mask and they just rob you from your time. The social media is a great tool, but if you use it properly,
Right.
If
Oh, yeah.
you use it wrong, you will absolutely lose in life.
I totally agree.
When we have any emotion, our body by nature, it was created to give the reaction, and then we start to produce particular biomolecules. Let's call all of them as hormones because it will be easier for audience. So there is an emotion and you start to shift your biochemistry. You go to work, you are unhappy. So in the evening, you normally start to distract yourself. Right. But when you distract yourself with whatever activities you do, it just masks the same thing. You don't do anything to progress. Yet, this is something that I discovered completely unexpected for me. Per day, we have particular, let's call it tank, to fill it with the emotions. Whatever emotion you have, you start to fill your tank. And at the end of the day, you are filled and you feel like, I had a perfect day. And you go through day by day, the same things happen again and again, but you don't realize that it's the same thing. It's just only masked with the different face. If you meet the different person, you think that it's different. It's not different. If there is no progress, if there is no value from your meeting, you do the same thing all over again. But your body doesn't realize that because most of the time we live in our subconscious. We cannot live in our conscious. And once your biochemistry fooled yourself, you literally fool yourself that you have fulfilled life when you go to social activities and you pretend you have full life. You pretend you do something new while you do the same thing with different face. It's masked, but once you remove that, that's perfectly described in the book. Once you flip what you associate, the unknown and the familiar, and you start to go right after like the sequence of unknown and the known, and you start to still fool your body, but the way that you will progress and benefit, that's when things change. Because then you realize it's not about being comfortable to be uncomfortable, because you will slide back to your comfort zone. It's about being uncomfortable to stay in this comfort zone. Just rename it, don't call it comfort zone, because you will keep sabotaging yourself. You need to rewire what you associate the comfort with. And it's so much harder versus just rename it. Call it unhealthy zone, call it laziness, call it ungrowth, whatever it is, but stop calling it to be comfort zone. Call it uncomfort zone. Then you'll be, if I quit my uncomfort zone, I would be comfortable. Why not? Why not to call it uncomfort zone? Whatever it is, stop just calling it the comfort zone.
So there was an example I learned a long time ago, and this is maybe, I think this is applicable. It's very similar to people that have taken the same route to work every day for the last 5 years. And if you challenge them to take a new route to work and how that affects them, because you're taking them out of their comfort zone and they're having to learn a new way of going to work, is very similar with how we deal with things in our lives, where we can try to rewire our brain or retrain ourselves to take a new approach instead of the same old approach that we've done over and over and over and over again. And so I love that analogy that if you have been doing the same thing over and over and over, and it's this, you're stuck in this cycle, right? Do something small that's going to not only, it's going to create your brain to like, kind of like, woo, oh, what's this? Like, that rewiring of do something small, like take a different route to work and see what you feel like when you get to work. You're going to probably feel pretty different.
This is some tiny nuance just mentioned. So the book is for people who are perfect to procrastinate, because once you quit your comfort zone and you start to shift your biochemistry, you start to feel something new and you are not familiar with that. That's when we sabotage, because what we do, we don't go the tiny steps. We normally go for the seminar. We are so high and we decide this time everything is going to be different. And we think that being here, this is your comfort zone.
Right.
You go to the seminar, you level up tenfold, 100-fold. You realize you have all these tools and you want to start that high and you slide right back. Why?
Ooh.
Because you don't have the fundament for that.
Right.
But the technique that I developed was the difference. So you do something new per day. Let's say you took the seminar for very short. You don't go to apply it, because if you are the procrastinator, you will be fearful and you will procrastinate and you will not even act on your knowledge. So you go for the seminar, you learn something new. Right after you do something which is extremely familiar. This is the weirdest thing that I did for myself when I was going through the dark times. But I didn't realize that I was fooling my body, that it's, no, it's fine. It's the same. My body didn't realize that I was learning step by step the new thing. I was feeding that it's the same. And I was extending my comfort zone. So I was extending the tolerance to the new biochemistry in my body. And step by step, while I was in the new biochemistry, I was rewiring the information and the link around this innovation that's familiar, that's new, not new, because your brain, it starts to realize, wait, it's something new. And the innovation, if innovation is linked to be fearful, you will sabotage. That's what you need to break. That's what the technique is about. Once you break this link between the innovation and the fear, because when you go for the innovation and then you start like fooling your body around, no, it's not new, it's familiar. Your body doesn't realize, because most of the time we live in our subconscious. Otherwise, we cannot survive. You cannot survive in your conscious all the time, because the nature created us to go with the maximum energy saving mode. It's not for everyone, but the majority of the people. I'm talking about people like the real majority of people who are perfect to procrastinate. So if you are that type of the person, this technique is unbelievably helpful for you. You just rewire what you associate in your brain with the comfort, innovation, fear, and all the feelings. Wow. You just change that net which exists since you are a child, but you cannot change it link by link. Right. You have to completely nullify it and then recreate the new. That's the difference. If you have many links, let's say you have many aspects in your life that you need to change. Normally, when you start to change, not that, let's say you have 10 pounds extra, you need to lose 10 pounds. No, it's when you associate, let's say, unhealthy food to be good for you. Right. Not going to the gym to be good for you. Uncomfortable things which are like, I'm unhappy, and then I go to snack. I do something which gives me the right away the comfort. So those are different links, and we are trying to rewire with one action. Just hearing some motivation, we need to lose weight. No. It's not the weight. It's all links around. And before you break all these links and nullify everything, and you start to rewire everything in the beneficial way, you will not stop it, because it's not about losing weight. It's about what do I associate the comfort with, food with, healthy food, gym, not snacking after you are stressed, or how you even cope with the stress. This is so different. And that's where people give up and they fail, because they think that losing weight is the problem. No. There are so many links and the beliefs that we have in our brain. And you need to rewire. Then you start to rewire one link, and then another arises, another, and there are so many problems. And once we enter the stress, what we do, we snack. Yeah. So you just go through the same cycles, as I said in the very beginning. You think that if you change the snack, is the different thing. No, it's the same thing. It's just only masked differently. If you go for the social media and you watch for the funny videos which are not serving, it's snacking on social media. It's not different.
I like
It
that.
gives you the same comfort. You need to completely rewire. But before you nullify your biochemistry and you changed the association between how do you read the words or the meanings that you give to the words, you will sabotage. You will slide right back because you start here and you think one seminar will change everything, 100-degree difference. And yes, baby, I'm going. The motivational speaker said, I can do that. I will. And yes, and that's the results that we have.
So people can learn about this technique in your book, but can they work with you if they want specific, like a one-on-one coaching?
Yes, I do the one-on-one coaching, and that's what you need to understand who you are first.
Right. Okay.
Once you understand who you are first, and that's not as easy as people always think.
No.
Sometimes people realize and they find out the things, they are just shocked.
Yeah.
Before you answer what you need to let go, the reason even I started all the book and even the technique, because I needed to let the past go. But more I would hear, let the past go, more I would be like, if there would be some heavy thing in my hand, I would hit you. Stop telling me let go.
Yeah.
I was so mad. I was so frustrated. I was like, just don't tell me that phrase. And I was in that situation for 3 years.
Oh, wow. That's a long time.
But it took me 1 second to really realize what I needed to let go. 1 second, I let it go. Wow. Because I knew what I was letting go. And I was like, wow. That's why I couldn't, because people were telling you need to let the past go. No, that's not what I needed to let go. I needed to let go some stories since my childhood, which I kept repeating as a pattern without even realizing what I was doing with the different masks.
Right.
And it's a new, no, that's not new. It's just all different face, it's different occasion, different place. It's the same thing all over again. You go for the social media because you replace the sweet with that. You just watch a funny movie video because you replace the cake with that.
Yeah.
Or then you go, okay, I'm fine with the funny movie. Now I need some cake. The same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that analogy. That's pretty good. Dr. Aksa, where can people purchase the book, connect with you, and learn more of working with you?
I'm very active on LinkedIn, so they can approach me, and I can drop also the email address. I'm starting the masterclass, so if they're interested, yes, just to start realizing who you are. And then everything falls into the places. Once you realize who you are and what you need to let go and what are the associations that you need to rewire, you will be amazed. It takes them 1 week to change what they didn't manage for decades.
Wow. You guys, have put her link to LinkedIn in the show notes or description, wherever you are catching this episode at. If you are interested in learning more with Dr. Aksa and how to stop procrastinating and stop being comfortable or get uncomfortable with being comfortable, whatever that looks like for you, go ahead, give her a follow on LinkedIn and shoot her a message. This is the part of the show where I like to ask for last words of wisdom or advice. What would you like to leave with us today?
I think the best 2 things that I learned to be true: fail fast. And that's not what people normally understand with that. It's not fail fast, give up, not to act.
Right.
It's act, fail, not sit, procrastinate, and consider you failed. That's not failing. That's procrastinating.
Yeah.
Act, fail, change, continue. Act, fail, it didn't work. And do you know how to raise the productivity? That's the wisdom that I want to leave people with. It's not to learn what to do. It's to learn what not to do. This is when you succeed.
I love it. Oh my gosh. So great. Dr. Aksa, thank you so much for this technique that you have created and the book that you have written and sharing with us, just being so vulnerable and open about your journey. It's just so inspiring. So we appreciate you, and you are definitely an extraordinary person.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. And You are extraordinary as well. And we are all. If we did it, everyone can. You just need to find who you are and what makes you feel this passion to move forward, and don't procrastinate. Life is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Don't do that to yourself and live it full life. Not full with FOOL, fulfilled life. Because part of the chapter in my book is fulfilled life with FOOL, fulfilled life.
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
Live fulfilled life. It's worth it.
I agree. Thank you. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate, review, comment, share, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.